Okay, hi everyone. So yeah, I'm not here today, but doesn't mean we can't have a quick lesson while I'm away. So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about inequalities. Okay, so the two ways we can do inequalities are with symbols or with words, or we can also use number lines. Okay, but inequality just means that two numbers aren't equal. Okay, so we're not using the equal sign anymore. We're saying that something is bigger than or less than something else. Okay. Uh, Usually it's with numbers, but it could also be functions, okay? So what we have here is that 4, and then this little arrow thing. Oops, what I want to do. 4 with the arrow to say that 4 is less than 10, okay? So when we talk about inequalities, you can think of it as a fish, or you might have heard Pac-Man, or like an alligator, but it always wants to eat the bigger number, okay? So here we have 4 and 8. So the fish is eating the right side. So it would look something like 4 is less than 8 because the mouth opens the same way the mouth of the fish does. Okay? If we flip it, that means the fish is going to flip side. So if we have 6 and 3, it's going to open the opposite way because it's always going to open to the bigger side. Okay? Whether you say the fish eats a bigger number, the alligator eats a bigger number, Pac-Man eats a bigger number, however it helps you to remember it, always know that the opening opens towards the bigger number. So here, I have 3 examples here. What sign?
I found this on the web.
So we have 12 and 9. The bigger number is 12. So I'm going to open up this way. Now I have negative 15 and negative 8. They're both negative, so the more negative you get, the smaller the number. So negative 8 is actually bigger than 15, so it's going to open up that way. And we have 3.2 and 3.9. So they both start with 3, so they're the same in that sense, but 0.9 will be bigger than 0.2. So it's going to open up that way. Okay? So inequality symbols are what they mean. Okay? So if I do an arrow with the opening to the right, that means that the right side is bigger and bigger only. Okay? So it's only going to be bigger. If we flip it, that means that the left side is bigger and bigger only. Okay? But if I start adding these lines, that represents like an equal sign. It's half an equal sign, okay? So this will be that the right side is bigger or equal to the left side, okay? This is when we start to talk about x and y and variables. When something is bigger than or equal to, it can take on more than one value. That's why we start to add the equal to, okay? The left side is bigger than or equal to the right side, again, because of that equal sign, okay? It's like half of an equal sign to show that it's greater than or equal to. Okay? So how do we kind of talk about this? Or how do we write it down with words? How do we do it on a number line? Okay? So there are often many possible values. So we can write it out in words, what we're actually saying, and then we're going to graph it. Okay? But inequality is x greater sign 2. That means that x is greater than space 2. Okay, so x is greater than 2. So on a number line, I need to find 2 to be right here. I do a solid dot. And then x is always going to be bigger than 2. So I'm going, sorry. I don't want to, we're going to wait to do it on the number line, okay? First, we're going to do this one on the line. X is greater than or equal to 1. So x greater than, greater, I'm just going to put slash equal. One more space, 1. Okay, we're going to do a dot at 1, and then x is greater than or equal to 1. So I'm going to extend my line this way towards the arrow. So x is either at 1 or it's anything that's bigger than 1. Okay. Now, if I have, so we represent this with a solid dot. If I say that is just greater than 2, I don't put a solid dot because x can't equal 2. So at 2, what I'm going to do is an open dot. I call it like a little circle, and then extend from there. Okay? So the open dot is for greater than, but not equal to. Okay? Solid dot for greater than, equal to. Open dot for greater than only. Okay? So like with this one, x is less than 3. I need an open dot because it's not equal to. Then x less than. I'll rewrite this for you guys here. X greater than 2. X greater than or equal to 1. Now we have x is less than 3. So I need to find 3 on my number line. This will blurry, but 3 is going to be right here. So do open dot. Slide it over a bit. And then since x is less than 3, I can't go to the right. I have to go to the left. Because everything to the left of that point will be less than 3. Like 2, 1, 0, and all the next. Now I have x is less than or equal to 1. So I need a solid dot because of the equal sign. So x is less than or, okay, the full version here, equal to -1. It's less than or equal to. So find -1 right here, do a dot, and again it's less than, so it's going to go to the left. Okay, so that is how we draw them on our number line. Clean that one up a bit. Okay. So if there's no line underneath, it's just greater than or less than. If there isn't an equal sign, it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Okay, let's flip over and we'll do some more examples. Let's zoom in again because that one is nice. We'll do it last spot. Yep, here we go. Okay, so my first inequality, if x is less than, or x with an arrow points to the left, 4. That means that 4 is bigger than x, so x will be less than 4. Okay, not less than or equal to because there's no line beneath it. So x is less than 4. So on my number line, I'm going to find 4, do an open circle, and then work my way back to the left. Okay, this one, x is greater than or equal to 0. So I know that it's at 0, and because it's greater than or equal to, I have a solid dot. And x is greater, so I'm going to go to the right when it says greater. Okay, but this time I had the worth, I started there, I did my graph again, but I still need to write the inequality. Okay, so I have x, and I have 0, and greater than or equal to, that means that x is bigger, so the alligator is going to open towards the x. And greater than or equal to, I need the line. So x greater than or equal to 0. That's what we write. Now this time we get the number line only. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a little blurry on your screen, but that's at -4. -4, and it's an open dot. So I'll have x and -4. So it's at -4 there. And now it goes to the right. So that means that x's are always going to be bigger than -4, which means that's going to open towards the x. And because it's an open dot, I don't have an equal to, so it's just x is greater than 4. Figure that out. X is greater than -4. Here, x is pointed, the opening is at x, so x is going to be bigger. We know x is greater than. But I have the equal sign beneath it, or half the equal sign. So it's greater than or equal to. That's all equal. Equal to -2. Okay, so that means that -2, I need a solid dot. It's solid because it's less than or equal to. It can also be 2. And I know that x is going to be bigger than this number, so all bigger numbers will always be to the right. So x is less than 3. So I'm at 3. And I can't do a solid dot. Why not? Because it's not equal to that. So do an open dot at 3. Less than means I'm going to the left. Less, left, 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 left. And we're going to go to the left. So that's my graph. Now to do it in terms of a inequality, I'm going to have x. I have 3 on this side, and I know that x is less than 3, so 3 is bigger. The mouse wants to eat 3. X is less than 3. Now here, you're at +5. So now I'm going to have x, and I'm going to have 5. Okay? I'll work out the inequality in a second. But I know it's a solid dot, so there's going to be an equal sign beneath it. Actually, since it goes to the left, I know that 5 is the biggest number that can be. So x is less than or equal to 5, which I just said it, so let's write that down. X is less than or equal to 5. Okay. Last one. X is greater than 2 6/8. Okay. So I have a fraction, but don't worry about that too much. I know that's 2 6/8. It's going to be somewhere between 2 and 3. Probably closer to 3 since it's 6/8. That's going to be closer to 3 than 2. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but all I want to do is draw a circle in between 2 and 3. Now x is greater than that, so I know it goes to the right. That's x, and then that same number, 2 and 6/8. And since x is greater, the alligator wants to eat x. And there's no line because it's not equal to 2 6/8, it's just greater than that. Now, let's just write out inequality. We don't need to worry about the words. So, I apologize again, it is very blurry. So that is at 4, that is at -2, this is at -7, this is at 0, this is at 9, and this one's at -5. Okay? If you want to pause the video, you can try it on your own. But I'm just going to get going because I'm not just going to stand here for 2 minutes. Okay? So I'm at 4. I have x, and I have 4. You can always start with x and your number. All these, we're always going to have x on the left of our inequality. Now, 4 is my point. It's a solid point, so I know that it's going to be equal to 4 as well. Now, it goes to the left. So I know that 4 is the biggest thing that we possibly do. Also, if you look here, the arrow kind of matches up with the arrow the direction that it's going. So if you're ever given a number line and you don't remember, the arrow is going to point to the same direction that the numbers are going, or that the arrow on your number line is going. Okay. Now, -2. This is the number that I'm starting at, so I have x, -2. There's a solid dot, so it's going to be equal to. This time it's going to the right. So that means x is going to be bigger than 2, or the arrow also follow in the same direction. Okay, next up, -7. Open dot, so I don't need to do the line beneath it. I just need to write that my line is going underneath 7 with -8, -9, -10. So x is always going to be less than 7. Here I have 0, open dot, so no line beneath it. But these are all my positive numbers, so I know that x has to be bigger than 0. Okay, because all I have there are positive numbers. And again, the arrow matches the direction that the thick shaded line is going. Next up, 9. All my numbers that are highlighted by the arrow are beneath it. So I have less than, and it's a solid dot, for less than or equal to. Here again, -5, and it's a closed dot, so equal sign beneath it. But all my numbers are bigger than -5. I have -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, and all the positive numbers are all going to be bigger than -5. So x will be greater than or equal to -5. And that, my friends, is how we do inequalities. Okay, so I have a couple worksheets for you to do. Your supply teacher will hand them out to you. And then I will take a look at them tomorrow. Just make sure that you get, if you haven't done so already, finish up that number classification worksheet because I'm going to mark that. But then once you've done that, you can work on the worksheets for inequalities. And if you have any questions, I'll take them up tomorrow. Okay, have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.